What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to I Do It Myself. I am Wayno. Before I start, I just want to ask y'all, if you like what it is that I do over here, hit that sub button, hit them likes, and run up the hype. Today we having a little bit more of a serious conversation, and the reason why I wanted to even do an episode on something like this is because it affects me. It affects me when I see my people not be able to live out their dreams. And saying something like that is extremely circumstantial because there's variations of why these things happen. You have the issues in the streets, you have the issues, in prison and so forth. But then you have other issues that aren't exactly on the same path or trajectory. Today we're talking about Kyren Pierre Lacy. I wanted to say this man's entire name because while I'm just now finding out about this situation, it affected me daily because I found out that his birthday is a day before mine, which happens to be my nephew's birthday. And this young man was 24 years old, going on 25, when he met his untimely demise. Now, I want to go through a little bit of his life and talk about things that he did, things he accomplished, and talk about what happened that transpired to him taking his own life. He was born in Thibau, I can't pronounce it correctly, Louisiana. He attended high school, in the same town. He was a standout football player and also played basketball. And in high school, in his senior year, he caught 54 receptions, 864 yards, and 18 touchdowns. He earned the first team All District honors. Um, I want to talk about some of the things that this young man accomplished because the only narrative, or not necessarily narrative, but the only thing that we keep seeing is the negative of what happened in the situation and some sort of a silver lining of the positive that's coming out now that he's gone. But this kid was he was a good player. In his freshman year in college, he went to LSU. Hometown kid, went to his hometown school. But his freshman year, he played 11 games. He led the team in receiving with 18 catches, 364 yards, and 4 touchdowns. In 2022, he had 14 games, right? 24 receptions, 268 yards. He was behind other receivers in the depth chart. You know what I mean? And 2023, he started more games, and 2024 was his best year, his best season. He caught 58 passes, 866 yards, and 9 touchdowns. You know what I mean? Tying for the lead of SEC for touchdowns. He was named second team All SEC. This kid was, football was his life. Football was extremely his life. He was bred to be an athlete, and he was really close to getting to the NFL until he had a legal situation. And the legal situation we're going to talk about is on December 17th, 2024. This is 10 days before his birthday. He's December 27th. Like I said, there was a multi-vehicle crash in LaForce Parish, Louisiana, that resulted in the death of a 78-year-old man named Herman Hall. State authorities alleged that Lacy was driving recklessly, speeding, passing multiple vehicles, including crossing the center line in a non-passing zone, which forced other drivers to swerve, leading to a head-on collision. He was accused of fleeing the scene, hit and run, and not rendering aid. In 2025, an arrest warrant was issued for him. He turned himself in and was arrested and released on bail, reportedly $151,000 pending grand jury proceedings. Lacy declared for the 2025 NFL Draft in December of 2024. Just days after the crash, the legal issues affected his draft stock, including reportedly losing invitations to the pre-draft events. Can't imagine. Like I said, this happened 10 days before this young man's birthday, before his 24th birthday. For anybody who's watching this, if you haven't had anything to achieve, and if you at the age of 24 or older, specifically older, we all remember, what we were doing around that time at 24. I remember me being 24 was one of the best years of my life. It was 2007. My son was born that year. I already had my daughter, but my son was born. Even though I didn't have no bread or nothing like that, I was having a great time because I had a son, and I had a daughter, and it was my first son. And I'm just thinking about me being 24. This really bothers me. But this young man, he had he got into a situation where April 12th of 2025, where he was 24, he was in Houston, and authorities were reported a weapons disturbance involving Lacy and a family member. He allegedly discharged the firearm into the ground during a verbal argument. He then fled the scene in a vehicle. A pursuit by law enforcement followed, spanning a few miles. The chase ended when his vehicle crashed. When others approached the vehicle, they say he had passed from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. His passing came 2 days before he was set to appear before a grand jury in Louisiana related to the December crash. LSU and others released statements expressing sorrow and offering condolences to his family. Man. All right, listen. Now that we've gotten through that, I want to go through the news report that talks about, of course, what I just mentioned, but not only that, goes into a bit of the story of what transpired, what was going on, what was going on with him, and let's just watch the news report. Yeah, I need a second.
That's right. So Kyren Lacy's attorney says that he looked at every piece of evidence, including surveillance video, body cam footage, and the investigative report by the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office. During that interview shared with us by Homa TV, the attorney says reports between the District Attorney's Office and State Police do not add up. During a recent interview on Homa TV, former LSU football star Kyren Lacy's attorney, Matt Ory, says data and surveillance video shows Lacy was more than 70 yards away from a collision on State Highway 20 in Lafourche Parish that killed 78-year-old Herman Hall in December of 2024.
At the time of impact, he's 72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of impact.
Following that wreck, Lacy was accused of being at fault for the crash and turned himself in to state police in January on counts of negligent homicide, felony hit and run, and reckless operation of a vehicle. At the time of his arrest, Louisiana State Police stated that Lacy, who was driving a green Dodge Charger, illegally passed multiple vehicles, causing a vehicle traveling in the opposite direction to avoid Lacy by swerving and crashing head-on into the vehicle that Herman Hall was a passenger in. Ory says Lacy was too far away to have any effect on the crash.
He was too far away, and as you can see in the video, you can see that the crash happens, and he's pulling up behind, right? He's pulling up behind, stops for a second, goes around and goes about his business. While this transpired, or while this was going on, I went to Kyren's his Twitter, and one tweet, that he had pinned, it says, and this was in 2020, it says, "Let's go. I just want to thank God. Ranked 12th overall in Louisiana, ranked 2nd wide receiver in Louisiana. This ain't come overnight. Y'all just don't understand. 4-star me." You know what I mean? So he's celebrating, his rankings. And there's another tweet where Jeremiah Jake Gray from G Sports says, "Don't think receipts haven't been kept, but stay on that side." It says Kevin DeLacy's defense attorney denies fault for former LSU star in a crash, and he retweeted that. So as you can see that he had pulled up behind an accident. Now, just going back to where his head might have been, we talking about December 17th, 2024, 10 days before his birthday. A few days after that, he declares for the draft. You know what I mean? A few days after that, he declares for the draft. And after this transpires, everything changes for him. Let's specifically talk about mentally. Can't imagine for everything that he had worked for in his life, because when people say student athlete, yes, these guys and girls, a lot of them, they go to school, but when they go to school and they're doing it on a professional level in school at a high rate, they're not so much students anymore. It's like 90% athlete, 10% student. And that doesn't permit them to really have any much of a life other than what it is that they're doing and they're pursuing. Of course, they're pursuing shit that's going to put them in a position that's going to change their lives forever. With somebody like himself, he was a wide receiver. He was doing good, you know what I mean? And just having his name involved, changed everything because, like it was reported, he was not invited to a lot of the draft parties or events. Pretty sure tons of people turned their back on him, and I mean corporately. Corporately, because people don't want to have their names associated with people who get into bad situations. Now, this is his attorney speaking on his behalf, of course, because Kyren is no longer here with us. But this is his attorney speaking on his behalf on what transpired.
Kyren Lacy did, in fact, pass 4 course. There's no disputing that. Further north, Kyren Lacy passed 4 course. However, he was back in his lane of travel, 92.3 yards. Back in his lane, behind Mr. Hall.
In a statement sent to WWL Friday night, Louisiana State Police said in response to the Homa TV interview in part, investigative findings revealed that Mr. Lacy's reckless driving while approaching oncoming traffic led to the events of the crash.
The very last line of the report from the district attorney's office says, the evidence submitted in the crash report does not support that Kyren Lacy should have known that his actions were the cause of the crash that happened approximately 72
yards ahead of him. 72 yards ahead of him. This is bad, yo. This is really bad. And what's really bad is that Kyren is no longer here with us. He doesn't get the opportunity to have his name cleared while he's here. And I can't imagine what this young man was going through on that day in April, you know, when he took his life. He most likely felt like he didn't have anything, that he was nothing, that since the time he started playing ball, I'm pretty sure, you know, most kids, I remember my son started football around 7 years old. They're playing a game, you know, and they fall in love with this game, and then they hear that this game can get them an education and get them money and, you know, get out the hood. You know how we all been, man. We all then tried to pursue being an athlete. I had some sort of dream that we wanted to pursue that we felt would put us in a position where we didn't have to worry, where we could take care of our siblings, take care of our families, take care of ourselves, you know what I mean? Do things in the community, forever what you wanted to use that for. He was on that path and that trajectory. He was on that rise, man, and that shit was ripped from him. And it also was ripped from him by a cop that lied and tried to coerce a witness to lie and said that something happened that didn't actually happen.
Just right here, if you could, I'll just have you write exactly what you saw. Just make sure to include, you know, where you were.
I don't even know what the name of that highway.
It's Highway 20. Highway 20. You know, that you just...
All right, me and my wife gonna figure out right quick.
Okay, just make sure you add in there that you had to slam on your brakes, and the brakes, like, you know, you had to slam on the brakes to avoid that charger, and the brakes locked up to avoid that charger. That's...
I ain't scared my car, because I wasn't even going for it. That lady in the back of me, she didn't saw what was happening. That's how she called that wreck. She was running in the back of me. She pulled on the other side, and that's not in it.
So, but the charger was coming right at you, correct? Right. And that's why you had to slam on your brake, the head on with you. So yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important because we're trying to locate this charger right now. So just include that in the statement, and I'll read it over, and then I'll be.
Lacy, one of LSU's top wide receivers set to enter this year's NFL draft, took his own life with a self-inflicted gunshot wound in April.
To this day, formal charges were never accepted by the district attorney. This is over. There's no criminal proceeding.
Done.
This is about making a promise to a kid who begged you to help him.
And we are waiting for a response after reaching out to the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office about the investigation and that Homa TV interview. We also reached out to Matt Ory's office, and we are waiting for a response from him as well. Whitney?
See how he said, I didn't even have to, like, I didn't have to slam on my brakes. You know what I mean? I didn't even have to slam on my brakes because I wasn't even going that fast. But he keeps telling him, like, just make sure that you said you had to slam on your brakes. My heart hurts, man. My heart hurts for Kyren's family more than anybody. My heart extremely hurts, man. Like, it hurts to see a young man lose his life. It hurts to know what he possibly was going through. You know what I mean? What he possibly was going through mentally. How that affected him, how it probably kept him up at night, how he was so alienated and pushed out to the point where he felt like he had to, you know, unalive himself. I'm pretty sure that his family is going to sue heavily. But there's no price, there's no amount of money, there's nothing that could fill a void of losing a child. And he was a good kid. He was a good kid, yo. I wanted to, do this episode and like I said, talk about this young man's life because I think that's what needs to be celebrated. He's no longer here with us, and I think that the way we should remember him is for what he was known for doing. So if anybody watches football, man, you know what I mean? Just always, if you like them highlights, make sure you tune into some of the stuff that he did, man, because, the only thing that's left is a memory now, Again, my condolences go to his family and his friends who personally knew him. This is I do it myself. For the ones that rock with me, you know how we doing. For the ones that don't, eventually you will. I'll catch you on the next one, though. Peace.